Good morning, Tubies. It's Psychic Bob here with you, also known as Lord Ision. And it's a really sad day to have to come here and do this broadcast. As many of you have heard by now, the husband of our beloved Queen, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her husband, His Royal Highness, the Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, has passed away this morning. I find this really, really sad. I have followed the royal family all my life. As many of you know, I am a bit of a royalist, I must admit. And even though I'm an American, I still claim the Queen and the royal family, having British heritage myself. I think that the United Kingdom and the United States share such a special bond. Our peoples are united. And today's, I think, a sad day, really, for all of us. For all of us. I see we've got some people gathering with us this morning over in the chat. I see Fairy Queen is here. I see B. LeClaire is here. Welcome. I'm sorry we're gathering under such sad circumstances. And I guess I'd want to say is the first thing is I think this morning we should start off with just remembering Her Majesty the Queen. How can you be with somebody over 70 years in marriage and then to lose them? My heart is broken. I mean, I've never been married and I'm already crying. Because at the end of the day, these are people, good people, human people who have given their lives to service. I think no matter what you think about the institution of monarchy, no one can say that His Royal Highness, the late Prince Philip, did not give his time and energy to the nation. Her Majesty the Queen, her example and his example have been outstanding. Fairy Queen, thank you for your donation. Fairy Queen just donated £4.99. Blessings to you. Fairy Queen is located in England. And Fairy Queen, I send my sympathies to you. I know you're a staunch royalist and also a member of the royal bloodline yourself. I wanted just to come here because so many of you I know this morning have already been writing me. Say, Psychic Bob, what about Prince Philip? Oh my God, have you heard? Yeah, I did hear. And I'm very sad. And somebody said, well, it's to be expected. He was 99. But, no matter how much you're prepared for it, it is always a shock. I don't care what anybody says. And I think that, my heart right now is for the British royal family. They're all in shock and sorrow and distress. And so we as spiritual people want to hold them up today. And, we want to acknowledge them. I think in just a little while, as we get more people here, we're going to do a little meditation to send some healing light to Prince Philip on his journey and to the royal family and to the Queen, Hi, Raven Fisher. Raven Fisher says, have you spoken about the Meghan Markle interview? I'd love to hear your feedback. You know what? I really don't have much to say about that because I stand in staunch support of the Queen and the royal family. And all I will say is I'm disappointed at how that interview was handled. I think there was a lot of, I'll just say I think there was a lot of things that need to be put right. And that's all I'll say. I want to give shout out. Hi, Ramona's here. Good to see you. Robin Boston is here. Hi, Robin. Thank you. I agree. It's a sad day. Don Chance is here. Hi, Don. Good to see you. Witch of Whitetail Hollow is here. Yes, it is a sad day. So, Raven, I'm not trying to blow off your question. I think it's a very valid and a good question. But for now, I prefer not to discuss Meghan Markle in that interview. You see. Hi, Storytime with T. Good to see you. Hi, Nicole Barnard. Good to see you. Yes, Nicole says, Nicola, excuse me. Am I reading your name? I don't have my glasses on. I'm calling people by one. Nicola Barnard. Hi, Nicola. Thank you. You can never prepare for a loved one's passing. Isn't that true? Thank you, Raven Fisher. Raven Fisher says, it's okay. It's a somber time and probably for another day. We can have that discussion on another day. Hi, Era Z. Good to see you. Welcome. B. Leclerc says, it doesn't matter what age a person passes. It's still sad and heartbreaking for family and friends. Yes. And this is why I wanted to be here because, you know, even though not everybody in the world got to personally know Prince Philip, I think on some level we've all been impacted by him. I know a number of you here from Britain, grew up in the United Kingdom and went to school, and some of you have written and told me about you receiving the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. And the Duke of Edinburgh Award is a wonderful program that they have in the United Kingdom. Actually, I made donations to it in the past when I lived in England. I supported the program, and so I have a connection to that through my devotion to the royal family. You know, as I was saying, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, devoted his life to service. You know, it's been written in many biographies, and I think it's very true that he sacrificed a lot of his own personal desires. He sacrificed a lot of his own personal desires to serve the country. You know, he had quite a promising naval career back in the 1940s and World War II in the early 50s. And many people said he was going to rise to the tops of the ranks in the military. And it wasn't just because he was in the royal family. He truly gave great service and was very skilled in his work in the Royal Navy. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately for all of us, I should say, when he married the Queen, his career basically ended. He became a full-time royal. And I think sometimes about Prince Philip, that's love. He gave up his desire to serve the Queen and to serve the nation. And I'll tell you, you can see on YouTube the films of the coronation. When the Queen was crowned back in 1953, Prince Philip did a loyalty oath. He came and he kneeled before her and kissed her hand and said that he was her liege man. And I always thought that was so beautiful, So, his life has been about service. And yeah, Fairy Queen says that she got the Duke of Edinburgh Award. Isn't that wonderful? Hi, Nacho Libre. Good to see you. Welcome. So I think that, if we studied the life of His Royal Highness, we will see truly a life of service. In the United States where I live, you don't get as much royal coverage as you do in the United Kingdom. And so a lot of Americans, unfortunately, have the concept that the royals just sit around in their palaces and, don't do anything. But I want to tell you about my experience and the time which I met Prince Philip and how I know about his life of service. Some of you know that many years ago in the early 1990s, I lived in the United Kingdom. I had a British girlfriend at the time and I lived there. And I was in Cambridge at the time. And I've lived all over the United Kingdom, but this one time I was in Cambridge. And my girlfriend at the time was on the Royal Press Corps. And she was in charge of covering royal events. And she took me to an appearance that Prince Philip was at. He came to University of Cambridge to address, I think it was a special speech to the graduating class. It was some special event, one of his charities. But anyways, he was at Cambridge University, which was literally like 5 minutes from my house. And I went down there to the university. And by the time I got there, there were already press people there. Now, to show you how different things were in that day, um, nowadays you'd have been fenced off and kept back. In those days, you could walk right up near the Royals. And because my girlfriend at the time was a member of the Royal Press Corps, she had her Royal Press badge. She gave me an extra badge. She had backup badges. And she said, here, wear this badge and carry my equipment. So when we got to the security area where the press could get closer, she just flashed her badge and she said, oh, he's with me. He's my assistant. And even though I really was not working for the BBC, I passed for a BBC media person and I got in. And what's interesting is once I was inside the more secure area, Prince Philip's car was parked right in front of the gate where he was going to come out. And I was able to actually walk up and look inside Prince Philip's car. The window and the door was open. There was a guy cleaning the car. And I walked up and I looked, I said, is this the Prince's car, Prince Philip's car? And he said, yes, he was an English guy. I said, yeah, sure. He said, you want to take a look around? And he opened the car and let me actually look inside Prince Philip's car. And I was like, I was so over the top because, that would never happen in the United States, And so I literally hung out with Prince Philip's chauffeur, or it might have been one of his security detail. I'm not sure, but he drove the car for him and took care of the car. But I think he was also a British Secret Service type. But anyways, I'm literally standing there leaning. I'm not joking. I'm leaning on the side like this, of Prince Philip's car, talking to this royal security guy and hanging out with him for about a half an hour, having the best time. He's asking me all about the United States and said he'd never been there but would love to go. Had a great time. And then after about a half hour, Prince Philip walks out. He was coming down kind of a long walkway, and then he got to the gate near where I was. I was literally at his car, like ahead of everybody, because a lot of the public were kept back, and so I was able to get right up close, and the other press had already set up their cameras and stuff. And because we were doing a radio coverage, we didn't have to go in the camera area, so that's how I was able to get close. And Prince Philip walked right out and started talking to people that were standing around the gate. And he said to me, he said, oh, good to see you. And that's really all he said. He just said, oh, nice to see you. I'm glad you came out today. And I said, thank you, Your Royal Highness. And I, bowed to him because that's protocol when you meet. Or else you do a little bow. And I said, thank you, Your Royal Highness. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to meet you. And that was basically it. But he stood there for a minute and talked to the security guy and to me. And then he was talking to a security guy about something. And then he said, well, it's been a pleasure to meet you. And he stepped right in his car. And I stepped back because they had to get in the car. And I think there's actually news footage where you can see, I don't know, it's been a long time, but I know at one point, I think I got coverage on the news, at least a little bit. But so I was there and got to hang out with Prince Philip's people and actually see Prince Philip. He was really nice. I'll tell you, one of the things about royalty, for those of you who may have met various members of the royal family, true royalty is not snooty and elitist. They're actually very gracious and very humble people. As a professional psychic, I've had the good fortune to meet a number of royal persons, like personally. A lot of royal people around the world personally actually call me for private psychic readings. I will never tell you who they are. I will not reveal my sources and my connections because that's a sacred trust. Just like if you call me for private reading, I will never tell anybody unless you want me to or you give me permission. So I honor that as a sacred trust. But I can tell you I've had a number of experiences with royal personages. That's all I'll say. And they're very gracious people. Very gracious people. So I feel a real sympathy today for the British royal family and particularly the people of Britain who have, seen a lot more of Prince Philip over the years than probably those of us in the United States. One of the things also I was going to tell you about the royal family, and it's not really reported here as much in the United States, is that when my girlfriend worked for the Royal Press Corps, we got daily updates from the palace. We actually have official palace notices of the itinerary. So she had to get the itinerary from Buckingham Palace so she'd know, what was going on, what stories to cover. And the Royal Rota, it's called the Royal Rota. You would be amazed at what the day of the royal family is like. They don't sit around. They literally are booked solid, like 10 to 12 hours a day. They get up in the morning, like they might go to a morning breakfast at a special, charity, and then they go and tour and open of a hospital, and then they go to a special luncheon, and then they have to do an afternoon tea at another location for another event, and then it's evening time. Then they have to host a cocktail party back at the palace, and then there's a state dinner, and then they might have to meet with ambassadors. I mean, you cannot imagine. When I started studying the Royal Rota, I said, my God, these people never rest. And it's really the truth. The royal family are not layabouts. They are not lazy. They don't just sit around taking a check and living high on the hog. They work. And for those of you who are anti-monarchist and want to say, oh, they're just a bunch of rich people sponging off the government, that's not true, because the funding that they do get paid by the government. But that money is really official expense money. It's not for them to go buy Gucci bags with. They literally use that money to help fund their security and their staff that help them to maintain their schedule. So the royal family is actually not getting rich off the government. They do have wealth, but their wealth is inherited wealth from the family inheritance. But the government funds that are used for the royal family is not luxury money. It is actually working business money. It's kind of like anybody who runs a business. You have funds set aside to operate your business, to pay your rent on your office or to pay your staff. Same thing with the money. So the money that the royal family collects is actually used to run the monarchy. It's not a personal luxury money. And that's something that a lot of people, especially in the United States, don't understand. I was reading some statistics, and they said that the average Briton per year only pays about 50 pence, which is close to $1. It's about 90 cents, 80, 90 cents for the royal family. So the British taxpayer is not being heavily burdened and taxed by the royals, because there's a myth in the United States that I've heard people say it, and it's not good, or nor is it true. They say, oh, poor British people so burdened by paying for that royal family. And honestly, they don't. They pay about 50 pence per household, literally. So that's hardly an exorbitant, amount of money. And honestly, for the work they do, the high profile image they bring to good causes saves lives. It changes lives, and it gives opportunity. As many of you have written to me about the various schemes, the Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme. There's also the Prince of Wales Award scheme. These programs that are sponsored and hosted by the royal family change lives. They really do. And so I would say to those of you who might be tempted to say, oh, come on, Bob, how can you be a royalist? Well, if you see and know the good that the royals do, I think you would be a little more sympathetic. And as I said, having lived in the United Kingdom, it changed my perspective. I've always loved the royals, but I had an even more profound, and have had, and still do have, an immense, profound respect for their service. Isn't that nice? Fairy Queen just said, the Duke of Edinburgh gave me the chance to do things my parents couldn't. It was fun. Isn't that wonderful? So I wanted to come here today because I know that a lot of you have been disturbed by this, and it is disturbing. And I thought, what we could do, if you're open to, is I wanted to do a meditation, and I thought we could send some light to the royal family and some healing light to them, and to Prince Philip to help his spirit on his journey. Hi, Eldon. Eldon Williams says, "Hey, Bob, good morning. And I'm sorry that you're a little sad today. I'm doing well in cryptocurrency. Do you pick up anything on that? Eldon, listen, I got to tell you, I'm not doing private readings today. This program is purely to help people who are struggling with the passing of Prince Philip. So I will be doing private readings, or these sort of readings on Sunday. So I don't feel today is a day to do psychic readings. But I thank you for your question, and I hope you understand. So I want everybody to kind of just join with me, and we're gonna do a meditation. Yes, Ian, I have to say I'm so agreeing with you. I do feel very bad for Queen Elizabeth. I said earlier in the broadcast, you may not have seen it, but how do you lose somebody that you've loved after 72 years? I mean, I can't imagine it, Uh, I'm young and I've only loved people for a little while. And when I lose somebody, even after, a day or two of knowing them, it's devastating. I can't fathom what she's going through. And so my heart is really with the Queen today. I feel sorry for all of them, and Prince Charles and Princess Anne and Prince Andrew and Prince Edward and, Princess William and Princess Harry. Um, it's just, it's very, very sad. How do you lose them? I mean, like, when you have somebody like Prince Philip who's around for so long, you know, you just never think they're not going to be there. Have you ever had people in your life like that? Like you think, oh, well, they're always going to be. You can't imagine that they wouldn't be there. And that's how I kind of feel about Prince Philip. I can't imagine he'd never be there. And I think, imagine the royal family feels the same way. Thank you, Fairy Queen. Fairy Queen says, Bob, I'm sorry for waking you up with the news. Yeah, Fairy Queen actually texted me this morning. She woke me up and said, you need to know what's going on. And I was in a deep sleep, but it woke me up. And thank you for sharing with me and getting me up, because I would definitely would want to know that. And I'm glad you told me. And that way I'm able to be here with you right now, since this has just happened. Yeah. Oh, the Angel Whisperer says the royal family is traditional to Canada. R.I.P. Yes, and Angel Whisperer, thank you for saying that, because I should also acknowledge Her Majesty's other realms and territories: the Commonwealth, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. There's so many countries: the Bermuda, the Barbados, the various Caribbean nations. Throughout the world, the royal family is honored and serves much of the world, even outside of Britain. And so, for those of you who are here from Her Majesty's other realms and territories, my deepest sympathies to all of you as well. I've traveled throughout the world. I've been to Canada as well, throughout all the United Kingdom and other countries. And Her Majesty is loved throughout the world, and Prince Philip was loved throughout the world. And they were, I guess if you were to put it in a kind of a funny term, let's be a little lighthearted, huh? Because if Prince Philip were here, he'd be cracking jokes. I'm telling you, the man he was really funny. When I saw him in Cambridge, he was poking fun at people. I remember watching him saying little funny things to people. He's always quipping something. And he would be the first to be laughing with us. And so if I were to define Prince Philip and the Queen, their relationship, I'd say that is the ultimate power couple. How do you like that? Do you think Prince Philip would agree? Are they the ultimate power couple? Yeah, I think they are, So yeah, that's very sad. So I've been so busy getting ready this morning, I haven't been able to follow the news. I imagine they're going to soon be announcing, if they haven't already, the upcoming announcements for the funeral. I'm sure they'll hold a state funeral. Lord knows the man certainly deserves it for as much as he's done. So we'll be following that, and I'll have more about that as we find out about that, And Kay Smith, hello, Kay. I'm sure you don't know me by my name on here, but my name is Cassandra McGowan. We talked the other day. Oh, Cassandra, darling, thank you for being here this day. You being here is very special. Cassandra's a wonderful person. I just met her, but she's an amazing and gifted person. Very psychic, might I add. I don't want to put you on the spot, Cassandra, but thank you for being here. And I think you're very psychic. So thank you for joining us. What a blessing to have you here. I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for being here. And, we're all in this together. Hi, Fairy Queen. Fairy Queen says, the public is outside the palace now. It's a choker. Yeah, I bet the flowers are arriving. The masses are arriving. So I thought we'd do just for a few moments a little meditation to help balance our energy, to send some light and healing to Prince Philip and to the royal family. And then we can talk about it. If you have questions about the royals or anything about my experience or anything like you want to share your feelings, let's talk about that as well. But for right now, let's do some meditation, okay? So I want you to get comfortable in your chairs. Just take your hands off your keyboards for right now. And we're going to just settle down. Let's just close our eyes for a moment. And as we close our eyes, I want you to follow your breathing, just gently in and out. And as we follow the breathing, I want you to let go all the crazy anxieties and tensions of the day and enter into that place of silence and peace within. And as we follow the breathing, I want you to draw your attention now down to the middle of your chest area. And inside of you, there's a little spark of white light floating inside your chest. I want you to focus on that light now. And I want you to see it become a little brighter and a little larger. And let that light expand and grow now. Let it form into a glowing cloud of light. See that cloud luminous, bright, and shining. And let that cloud now just expand and fill the whole chest area. Wherever this light moves, let it bring in the wonderful energies of peace and balance and healing. So let that light now rise up into your shoulders. Feel it expanding. Let it bring soothing energy there. Let the light move up into your neck and throat. Feel its healing power there. Let it rise up into your head. And as this beautiful light starts to fill you, let it continue to release all tension and all anxiety. And let that light bring in peace, balance, and healing. Let this beautiful light now flow down each arm. It's like waterfalls of light flowing down to the hands and fingers. Let that light continue to move. Let it move down through your shoulder blades, down to your lower back. Let it move all down from the chest and into the stomach as well. Try to see and feel this light as it just wraps around your body like a blanket of silk, soft and light, nurturing and protective. And let this light continue to flow now. Let it move down through your hips, down through your thighs, down to your knees. Let this beautiful light wash through you and let it continue to bring in peace, balance, and healing. Let the light flow down to your shins and calves, down to your ankles, and all the way down to your feet and toes. Now, as you look within, I want you to see and know and realize that you are now filled with this amazing and divine light from the top of your head all the way down to your feet. In this light, there is no fear. There is only peace, love, joy, and acceptance. This light is your connection to your higher self, and it's your connection to your higher source. Now I'm going to be silent for just a brief moment, and during this silence, I want you to keep your eyes closed. Try to stay within and try to see and feel that amazing light. So now I'm going to be silent just for a moment while we do this. Very good. Now, while we're in the light, keep your eyes closed. I want you to take a little bit of that light inside of you. And let's first of all send it to Prince Philip. Prince Philip, we reach across the veil between the worlds, and we send you this healing light from each of us as a gift to enlighten you and to help you upon your journey as you enter into the new world of spirit. I pray for you, Prince Philip, that you'll be greeted now by your blessed loved ones, angels, and guides, and that you'll now know you're in a place of rest and peace, and embrace the light as it comes to you. Prince Philip, we send you this healing gift, and we wish you well on your journey. May you truly, blessed be, great Prince and Duke. Thank you for your life of service. Go and rest in peace. So mote it be. And keeping your eyes closed, everyone, I want you just to stay in that light just for a few moments. And let's just send a little light, first of all, to Her Majesty the Queen. And we ask that the spirit world help our beloved Queen Elizabeth II. May Her Majesty receive this healing light to give her strength, comfort, and peace in the coming days for all that she must face. And we ask that this light extend to each member of the royal family. And let this light help unify them and bring further healing. And where there is division and sorrow and disappointment, let the family find the common good in the light. And let Prince Philip's memory and presence strengthen the bonds between each of the royal family. May this light go to them to give them strength also in the coming days as they seek to move forward through this time of sorrow. So let us now just invoke the help of the Spirit. And again, we send light to Her Majesty, the Queen, and to each member of the royal family. Let's just visualize the family and the Queen and send that light to them now. I'm going to be silent while we do this together. So mote it be. Let us slowly come back. Just take a deep breath. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and you'll be fully present. You see, that's what we do here at Spirit Channel. We use spiritual knowledge and power to bring healing and to bring help. And I want to thank you. Thank you to each of you for helping me to do that. I've been wanting to send help to Prince Philip and to the royal family. And you all joining with me to do this is very special. I thought I'd show you, by the way, to honor Prince Philip. I'm wearing a special pendant today. You know, guys, you're always asking about my jewelry. So today's a day especially to talk about jewelry. And I'm wearing a royal crown that I have. This is a jeweled crown that I'm wearing. Isn't that lovely? It's hard to see here on camera, but it's inset with Austrian crystals. And I just love it. So I'm wearing this crown pendant as a sign of my solidarity with the royal family and in memory of the late Duke of Edinburgh. But those of you who may be outside of the United Kingdom or may not be aware or understand royal titles and protocol, Prince Philip holds a few different titles. He was made the Prince Philip of the United Kingdom by the Queen in 1954. But before that, on his marriage to Her Majesty the Queen in 1947, he was created the Duke of Edinburgh, and also, I believe, Earl of Marinoff, if I remember correctly. So you can hold multiple titles of nobility. As many of you know, I hold a few titles as well. My Wiccan title is the Lord Ision, and I also hold another title, which is Duke of Ravensworth as well, and Marquis of Montrose. Those other two titles were granted me by a prince that I know. But I feel most closely associated with my Lord Ision title because it's a sacred title that denotes my work for the Order of the Purple Cord. But so, yes, so if you hear people talk about the Duke of Edinburgh passing, they're talking about Prince Philip. It's the same person. He's just called by different titles at different times, like I am at different times, Kay Smith, Cassandra says, this might be crazy, but I can only think and feel a deep hurt. But it's from you, Psychic Bob. Unsure if it's about Prince Philip or something else, or a little of both. We can talk later. I feel a great sorrow over the royal family. Thank you, Cassandra. It's a deep connection for me. I have so many memories connected to the royal family over so many years, which I won't go into everything now, but I've really been very close to the royal family in many ways throughout my life. So I feel this personally and deeply, So, yeah, it's a sad day. As a psychic, I think that many of us pick up the energy of around the world. I feel the empath. As an empath, I feel the collective sorrow, and I think that's affecting me today. So yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it today. Thank you, Ravenmoth. Ravenmoth says, please don't forget to support Bob by hitting the thumbs up and subscribing. Thank you, Ravenmoth. I forget that. Yes, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Be part of us here because we're going to be doing more, I'll probably come back and discuss more of this as we go through the coming week with the state funeral coming, and we'll talk about all that means, Um, Thank you, Raven Moth. You're so sweet. Raven Moth says, Bob, he's got his own amazing collection of crown jewels. I do. I have to admit, it's one of my addictions. By the way, on another note, talking about jewels and jewelry, another connection that I have to Prince Philip, which some of you know about, but some of you may not know, and I can't believe I forgot to tell you this. If you research history, a lot of you younger people will not know who I'm talking about, but there was an infamous, I guess I should say infamous, to be honest, American named Wallis Simpson. She was from Baltimore, Maryland, in the United States. She married King Edward VIII in the 1930s. King Edward VIII was the uncle of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And when he married Wallis Simpson, he ended up renouncing the throne. It's a long story. There was a lot of politics about him marrying her because she was divorced, twice divorced, and there was considered very scandalous. Well, Wallis Simpson is actually my cousin. She was my grandfather's cousin. So she would be my second cousin, or cousin twice removed, as the British say. So the Duchess of Windsor was my cousin. So my family did know her. And if you look up the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, you'll know about that. That is my cousin, is the Duchess of Windsor. So throughout my life, I've had this kind of direct connection to the royal family, you see. So it's funny how life is, But Fairy Queen just said, oh my God, the Simpsons are my family, my relatives. Oh, Fairy Queen, we'll talk offline. I want to hear about this. This is so strange. Wow. All right, well, life gets more strange by the moment. But anyways, yeah, so I've kind of been connected to the royals throughout my life. I followed them. I actually met a number of the royals. I met Princess Margaret once at an event. I've met Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Um, I'm trying to think who else I met. I met the Queen Mother once. I didn't really get to meet her. I saw her. I didn't get up to talk to her, but I was at an event and saw her pretty close, you know. And so, yeah, you know, my life is somehow keeps interacting with the royals. I guess it's some sort of karmic thing, you know. I can't escape it. No matter where I go, I end up being connected, you know. Hi, Ann Wagner. Thank you so much. Ann Wagner says, hey, Bob, I just purchased a 1-hour session. I really don't understand. Will you notify me? Yes, Ann, I've got a backlog of people, so it probably won't be till tomorrow, later today, hopefully, but probably tomorrow till I can get back to you. Once you buy a reading, it notifies me. So I have your information, and I'm going through a list of calls right now. So you're on my list, and I really appreciate your support. Please understand, I need to update my website to clarify that better. So thank you for reaching out to me. But I will not forget you, I promise. And I'll call you. If not today, it'll be tomorrow. My schedule is literally maxed out. I'm doing like 10-hour days. I've got a lot of readings coming in, a lot of mail to deal with. And I'm also working on some media projects with some major media. So I'm trying to balance it all. So, Ann, I promise you, love you, thank you. I will not forget you. Just be patient. You'll hear from me. Okay. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. E-Dog says, I never understood the royal bloodline thing, though. Well, you know, E-Dog, there are two ways to look at it. Some of it's just pure political. Who knows who and who's hooked up with who. But if you study it from an esoteric place, there is believed to be sacred power among royal bloodlines, that there are ancient bloodlines that lead back to the ancient divinity. And in the United Kingdom, it's believed that there's an intermarrying of the Fae, the fairy people, and the royals at one point. Now, the royal family today wouldn't tell you that, but if you research the history, it was believed that the royals were connected to other worldly beings in a sense, you know, the Fae people. And so they're kind of people have a different kind of genetic history and a different kind of calling. So, anyways, I hope that answers that a little bit. Yes, he does. Yes, I've looked at it esoterically. It's very interesting, isn't it? Thank you so much. Zale Rain says the royal family have many connections within paganism. Yes, they do. There's a wonderful book you should read to kind of give you some idea of what it was like. It's actually a fictional book, but I think it's got a lot of truth in it. It's by Marion Zimmer Bradley. It's called The Mists of Avalon. I really recommend you explore that book because that kind of tells the story of how the pagan culture and the Christian culture fused through the royal bloodlines in the line of King Arthur. Really fascinating stuff. So I would encourage you read The Mists of Avalon. It'll give you a whole new perspective on royal bloodlines and how that all works, you know. Very cool. Well, guys, I just want to spend a few minutes with you today because I know you've been worried and asking questions. And, you know, I think that we, you know, just wanted today be reflective, be mindful. And when you think about it, if it crosses your mind later in the day, you can just sit down, tune into that light and just send it out. You know, that's a wonderful gift that you can give people. I always send the light, and I should have said this earlier, but send it with the intent that they can choose to receive it or not as they will. We never force it on people. We simply make it available, you see. Hi, Kay Smith. Hi, Cassandra. I'm not doing readings today on the channel, so you know, we're going to save that for another day, okay? But thank you for the offer to do it today. Today I really want to just stay focused on the royal bloodline, okay? Thank you so much. Zale Rain says, Princess Diana went to psychics often. Yes, she did actually, yes. You'll find as you research the royal family, there is, well, they don't say it so much anymore, but there really is a great belief in psychism and spiritualism within the royal family. They're very sympathetic to we psychics. And that's another reason why I just love them, because it's really cool. Anyways, but did you guys have any questions for me? Anything you want to ask about this situation? I'm not doing personal readings today, but if you just want to ask about the royal family or anything like that, or your thoughts about, life after death, we can talk about that. Because the truth is that, this sounds strange, but the wonderful and good thing, if that makes sense, about moments like this is it gives people, a lot of people who never consider their spiritual lives, it's an opportunity just to pause and say, what is there? What is there at the end of this life? Because the truth is, none of us are going to get out alive. Okay? I don't mean that to be morbid, but it's just the reality. It is a natural cycle. And death, unfortunately, in our Western culture is so what's the word I would say, treated as you can't discuss it. And I think that's a wrong thing. I think we need to talk about death. Hi, Cindy. I didn't get your email, hon. My emails have been tampered with. It's easiest if you just call my office. Right now, I'm having some issues with email. So call me at 703-825-3929. Okay, you can also visit my website. It's got my phone number there, PsychicBob.com. Phone is probably the easiest way to reach me. Okay, thank you so much. So what I'm saying is this passing of Prince Philip gives us an opportunity to go back, to open up, that discussion. What happens after we die? What does it all mean? There are a lot of people who today are saying, wow, I hadn't thought that Prince Philip would ever die, and that makes them think about mortality. So let's use this time to reflect on our own journeys, Oh, interesting. Zale Rain says, Queen Elizabeth I had a witch in her council of advisors, too. Isn't that interesting? I love that. That's really cool. All right, Fairy Queen has a question. She says, yeah, can I ask a question? Were the royals really connected to the Fae? I would love to know more. Yes, the royals, now the Queen today might not agree with that, but if you study the history, there are evidences that there are Fae bloodlines. And again, this is why I want you to read the Mists of Avalon. It makes it much more clear. The ancient nobility were pagans. Britain was a pagan nation, but it had nobility and royalty. It had kings and princes and barons. And these bloodlines eventually, some of them split off and formed into Christians and denounced the pagan past. And this is all detailed in that book. Though it's a fiction, it gives an accurate, I think, historical view of the events that happened that led to the Christianization of Britain. And with the Christianization of Britain, that Fey link, that knowledge of magic, that knowledge of spiritual truth was lost and really, honestly, actively suppressed in many cases. So I hope that helps a little bit, Fairy Queen. Raven Moth. Hi, Raven Moth. Raven Moth says, hold on just a second. Bob, do you think now with the world coming out of the darker ages and rising up, we might reestablish a stronger connection to the Fae again, like how it was in older years? Well, I'm certainly hoping we will. I think with Wicca growing and paganism, we're helping to bring that knowledge back. So many more people, if you look on YouTube, are having fae experiences. They're actually capturing fairies on film. People that don't even believe it are seeing and capturing it. So I think that by our magic, by our work, we're raising the power. Kay, are you talking to somebody or me? You said you read it wrong. I don't know what I read wrong. Why don't you tell me? I'm not always saying I get everything right, so enlighten me. Um, but yes, Ravenmont, to come back to you, yes, I do think that we are going to see a stronger connection. Um, Absolutely. In the story, The Mists of Avalon, they talk about how the realm of the Fae, in the end of the book, it talks about, they say that the world of the Fae is receding and fading into the mists. And in the movie, there's a movie version of it that Angelica Houston plays in, which you can see clips on YouTube of. They really kind of explain how that transition between the Fae realm and the human realm work. And it's just really fascinating. It's really fascinating. So I recommend that book. Lady Witch says, I'm not a fan of the royal family, but R.I.P. Prince Philip. Yeah, this is what I say, and one of the things about the royal family, which I want to also say is, when I speak about them, I'm not being political. In the United Kingdom, and it's not really known here in the US as much, the royal family are above politics. They don't take sides of either political party. And so, they are, how do I say this? They're neutral. They're beyond politics. And so even if you're not royalist or you're anti-monarchist, we can at least say in all objectivity and honesty that Prince Philip gave his life in service to his nation and to many nations around the world, you see. E-Dog just said he died at 99 on the 9th. Yes, he did. Isn't that interesting? So there's some numerology there. Well, in the pagan belief, 9 is a symbol of the triple goddess, 3 times 3. So maybe that number has a significance to remind us again that the royal bloodlines tie back into magic. Something to think about, isn't it? Yes, Edaw. Edaw says 9 is completion. Yes, it is as well. It's like returning home to the source, Interesting. Nicola, can you tell me about the troll? I need to know who that is. Oh, there you are, Cassandra. I was saying I would love to give you a reading into. Oh, okay, you meant not now. Okay, thank you, Cassandra. I would love that. We will definitely talk about that. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Sometimes it's hard to read chat and talk. I'm not very coordinated like that. I get sidewinded. Fairy Queen, can you tell me who the troll is? Oh, Allison. Okay, I'll watch. If you're a troll and you're here today, it's a pretty interesting reflection on your character, that you would come into a gathering of people that are in mourning and grieving and attack them and play games. That is very sad. So if you're here and you're a troll, you need to leave or I'll block you. We're not going to have that today. Hi, Janine. Conscious Vibrations. Janine's here. Good morning, my Bob. Love you. Love you too, darling. Thank you for being here. David Jan is not a troll. Zale, let me tell you, David Jan is not a troll. He's a personal friend of mine. So no, he's not a troll. He actually does a lot of great work for the world. I won't get into all his personal business, but trust me, David Jan is a personal friend of mine, okay? We're safe with him, okay? Zale Rain, I'm not going to bring up these discussions about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex today. Let's just say we send healing to the royal family on all levels. Okay. Okay, I just blocked a troll. I think you're right. You're right, Fairy Queen. Thank you. Hi, David Jan. I just blocked Zale Rain. Does look like she's harassing you, and I'm so sorry. Thank you for your service to the nation of Israel, David Jan. So, guys, I just want to let you know I'm with you, and I know your hearts are heavy, and I know there's a lot of pain today, and I know there's a lot of sorrow. And, it's times like this where we get support. Just being here with you guys already is helping me, and I hope it's helping you. Thank you, David Jim. Lessons, buddy. Said, I love you so much, Bob Hearts. You see, that's what Spirit Channel is about. It's about love. We're about love. We're about support. And, all of you coming together to help do this ritual to send healing to the Queen and the royal family and to Prince Philip. Thank you. Thank you for your energy. You put a lot of energy in to be here with me whenever I broadcast. And I don't take that for granted. I do truly appreciate it. Hi, Beach Sunsets. Good to see you. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Lady Witch says, personal opinions aside, people are mourning and people should be respectful. You said it perfectly. Krishna Narashiman says, wow, damn, hope he's in a better place. Well, we hope. One of the things I have to say is, death, and I'm not making this any reflection on Prince Philip, but death does not make person an instant saint. This is a spiritual truth that spiritualism teaches. Spiritualism says that death is only a transition, that you bring into the spirit yourself exactly as you are and exactly as you were on earth. So some people have a notion that you die and you instantly become this glorious saint. And that's not really true, because unless you were a saint in life, you're not going to be a saint in death. Now, the good news is that in spiritualism, it teaches that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul here or hereafter. So no matter where you are on your journey, once you cross over to the spirit, you're given a chance to rectify your wrongs, make amends, and start on the path. So if somebody dies who's not a spiritual person, death is many times a shock for them. But there are spirit beings and helpers who are there to help guide them over, kind of sit them down, give them a stiff drink, and have a talk with them. I'm sure today Prince Philip is really busy having an orientation of he's probably over there just with his jaw drop saying, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you forever. Because when you die, all your friends and relatives that are in spirit come to visit you. So that's pretty amazing. That's what he's probably doing right now. And then you get an orientation, and eventually you're brought into a meeting with your guides to review your life from a more formal perspective. So he's in what I call orientation mode right now. And he'll probably be in that for the next probably month even. It takes a while to acclimatize to the new life. But know that he's being looked after. There are people there to guide him and to help him, So E-Dog says, yes, death is the most beautiful part of the soul's journey. Actually, E-Dog, that is so true, because, people think of death as this big bugaboo. As I was saying earlier, in our culture, we're like, shun it, like, oh, don't say that, But really, death is nothing but transition. It's literally like walking from one room to the other. And I can truly say that because I had a near-death experience myself. Many years ago, I was in a car accident, and I briefly died during the impact. It's a long story, but I was driving a car, and I got hit head on and knocked across a line and then hit again, and the whole car caved in on me. And I died briefly during that. And you know what? It wasn't at all scary. I was just instantly above my car. I looked down on my body. It was so strange. I was so detached from the whole thing. I had no fear. I was like, oh, well, that's done. My mindset was like, okay, I finished that. and I was instantly in the light, and I saw God. People say, what's God like? You saw God. Let me say that God is a term that I even don't like to use, because the divine, the all, the being is bigger than any definition. God is mother. God is father. God is brother. God is sister. God is lover. God is everything. When you are enraptured in that light of God, it changes you, and you will never be the same. I'm not the same. I can't walk through this world being impressed by anything. Everything here is temporary. That doesn't mean there's not value in it. You know, I love my good jewelry, as some of you said. Who said? I forget who said it. So Psychic Bob's got a collection of jewels, and that's true. I have cases of jewels. It's my one addiction and passion. So yes, but really, if we get down to it, my jewels, they're fun and I love them. But if they all go away today, it's not going to end my world. Because the truth is, once you go to that light, like Prince Philip's in that light, nothing in this world really matters. You know, nothing matters, because you understand the bigger picture and you know where you're ultimately going. You see? Yeah. Hi, Lily Johnston. Hi from the UK, Great Britain. Rest in peace, Prince Philip. Blessings to you, Lolly. Thank you for being here with us today. My sympathies to you and to the other people in your family and friends in the United Kingdom. It's a sad day. It is for all of us, you know. Krishna Narashim says, I mean, there's proof and stuff, right? There is proof. There are a lot of scientific studies of the near-death experience, but it hasn't really, you know, there's a lot of suppression of the truth as well, you know? And so I think that the scientists of the world need to step up and also, you know, show the proof of the reality of the soul, you know? Shannon Tomlinson says he lived a long, fulfilled life. Yes, Shannon, Prince Philip did live a long, fulfilled life. I'd agree with that. Conscious vibrations, Janine says, yeah, to use the word God, it can feel limited. God is all things, the creator of all things. There is no beginning and no end. You said it perfectly. E-Dog says, God in fractal pieces. Ooh, I love that. Now that's cool. You guys are all getting it. See, you know, because you're spiritual people. You have to be spiritual to hang at my channel, you know? That's why we get rid of the trolls. You know, I let the trolls sometimes stay on my channel because I like to think in my mind and hope that maybe they'll hear something that's true that will trigger them to start to live a spiritual life. But at the same time, I'm not going to let them hurt you guys. So I got rid of the troll, you know? David Jan says, I usually use source or infinite intelligence. David Jan, I love those terms too. In the spiritualist church, we always call God infinite intelligence. And once I joined the spiritualist movement and I learned that term for God, that is the term that made sense to me. You know, that's the best thing I can describe about having seen the light, you know. Oh, Krishna, Krishna Narashi, I'm sorry, I jumped in on a conversation. Krishna Narashi says, not death, we're talking about whether the royal family members are reptiles. Any comments on that? Listen, Krishna, I just have to disagree with that theory. I know David Icke says it, and I actually think a lot of what David Icke says is true, but on that one point, I don't sense it. I have told you I've met and been up close to a number of the royals. I never picked that up around. I never felt that energy. So I'm just going to say I'm not sure that I personally believe that. So I don't think they're reptilians, you know. I know people are saying that, but I don't think so, you know. Fairy Queen agrees with me. They're not reptilians. E-Dog says the royals are people like you and I. Yeah, I think they are. I think they are. But they're people who have a special calling in life and a special work. Like I have a calling to be a psychic. Prince Philip had a calling to be a prince. Being a prince is as much as a calling as being a psychic. Stranger Things 77 says, Lord Ision, when you mention God, you mean the creators in spiritual sense, not a monotheistic sense. Oops, hold on, guys. My alarm's going off. I'll be right back. To answer your question, Stranger Things, when you mention God, you mean the creators in a spiritual sense, not a monotheistic sense. Well, yes, this is hard to explain because if you want to see God in the monotheistic sense, you will see God in the monotheistic sense. If you want to see God more as the life force, the cosmic conscious energy, that is also God. So it doesn't matter which angle you look at it, it's all there and it's all valid, each view. The spiritualist movement tends to be more on the overall creator consciousness rather than monotheistic. But at the same time, within the spiritualist church, you'll hear prayers to Mother God, Father God. In my experience, when I died, I would say God definitely is infinite intelligence, but that infinite intelligence has a personality in that it can communicate with you mind to mind. And there's a true sense of it embracing you and loving you. So I don't know how to answer that really, because it's all, and it's beyond even the word all. Sometimes we don't have words, at least in English, for this. But I hope that gives you a little insight, you know. Ravenmoth says, I hope Philip's death helps bring the royal family back together. Do you think it will, Bob? Ravenmoth, that's my prayer. That is my prayer, that this will be the good that comes out of this. As I said, I wasn't going to get into discussing the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but I think now, to tell you the truth, that this is going to be a time where there'll be an opportunity, because I'm sure that they'll be traveling back to the United Kingdom for the funeral. And so let's pray that there can be true reconciliation and healing. That's what I'd like to see. Is it going to be easy? Probably not. But we can certainly send energy to that. Fairy Queen says, God consciousness. Yes. I hope we all get God consciousness, Janine says, Bob, you look so glowy today. Very nice golden light. Thank you. It's called lack of sleep. I've been so busy, I'm burning the candle at both ends. And at a certain point, you just start to light up with energy. You get your second wind. you know. By the way, for those of you who want to know or are new here and don't know, I am a full-time professional psychic medium. And if you've contacted me for a reading, I have a little bit of a backlog. I will get back to you within the next few days. So I haven't forgotten you. I'm not ignoring you. I just am getting a lot of calls, a lot of requests for sessions, which I'm very thankful for. So please keep the requests coming. It's my full-time work. This is how I live full-time. So your support for my readings really keeps roof over my head and food in my stomach. So thank you for your support. It does mean the world, So if you have tried to reach out to me, please just be patient with me, okay? Thank you so much. Anyways, guys, I am just so glad you're here. And I actually have to close this down now because I have to get ready. I've got more readings. I'm going to be in readings all day. So I love you guys. And I just want to let you know I'm with you. And we'll have more in the coming days about this. So I send light, blessings, peace, and healing to all of you. And let us in union say, God save the Queen. Blessed be.